Hey everybody, my name is Lucas Solberg. I'm the PR and Communications Manager at Hydro Flask. Welcome to another edition of Live with Hydro Flask. We're streaming live on Facebook and Instagram right now, so thank you guys so much for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time. It's going to be a really fun episode today. We've got some great guests. We're here at Oregon Spirit Distillers in beautiful downtown Bend, Oregon. So it's going to be really cool. We're going to be talking about our new product, the Rocks, which just came out earlier this month along with the tumbler. If you haven't seen them, check them out on our website. Super awesome product. We're going to have a little activity here, make some drinks too, to show some folks what you can make in your new Rocks glass. We're going to talk a little bit about the craft distilling movement. And of course, since this is live, we definitely encourage you guys to throw any questions you may have at us, whether it's about Hydro Flask, Oregon Spirit Distillers, or anything random that you want to throw at us. We'll take a crack at it and do our best to answer it. And of course, in line with all the Hydro Flask live program, we're going to be doing some giveaways too. Only natural that we're going to be doing a Rocks giveaway today. So anybody who asks a question, a comment on our feed or tags a friend will be entered. We'll pick 2 lucky winners at the end of the broadcast to walk away with a new Rocks glass. So with that, thank you guys for joining us. Let's do some quick introductions. We'll start here on my right.
Hi, I'm Molly. I'm Molly Troop, and I am the lead distiller at Oregon Spirit Distillers.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us, Molly.
Anytime.
I am Shelly Hobson, and I'm the bar manager here at the Barrel Thief Lounge at Oregon Spirit Distillers.
Cool. Right on. Well, let's start with you, Molly, and talk a little bit about distilling in general. Can you tell us a little bit about this movement over the past however many years?
Sure. Craft, the whole craft movement has been happening for quite a while. It started with wine, it went to beer, and now it's the craft distilling movement. And it's really centered around being authentic, being quality, and being local. The nice thing about Oregon Spirit Distillers is we have great local agriculture, so we have great rye, great wheat that we can use, and we use that to make whiskeys right here on site.
Nice, awesome. And also, just so you guys can see, if you can see behind us through the windows here, this is their distilling facility right here. So it's super awesome. We want to be able to showcase a little bit about Oregon Spirit Distillers, and maybe on that note, tell us a little bit about the company and the history.
So we started in 2009. Our fearless leader, Brad Irwin, started us, and he has kept us true to our original message, which is to bring great quality whiskey to Oregon and throughout. We actually moved about 2 years ago to this location, and the great thing about that is we got to expand our production, but we also got a chance to open a cocktail lounge, the Barrel Thief Lounge, and that's a great way for us to showcase our spirits.
Yeah, and just a quick shout out to these guys for not only hosting us, but if you guys are in the Central Oregon area, or if you're traveling through Oregon, definitely stop and check this place out. It's super rad. It's got just a really cool, classy vibe. So definitely give it a big thumbs up. It's really cool. So, and when we were talking earlier just about Oregon Spirit Distillers too, you guys made a little correction on me, and really were quick to point out the difference between distillery and distillers in your name. Talk about that and why you made that correction.
So we just like to make the point that we're Oregon Spirit Distillers. We're people. We're not a place. And that's really important to us. We are our collective spirit, and that's what helps us produce award-winning whiskey.
Yeah, I like that pun in there too, the collective spirit.
Exactly.
That's good. Awesome. Well, talking about the movement, are there any trends that you're seeing in terms of types of spirits?
Yes, we definitely see that American whiskey is trending, which is great. You're seeing longer age statements as well because our industry, our craft movement is maturing, which is fantastic to see.
Cool.
And I think my favorite trend of all is women appreciating and enjoying and getting super involved with whiskey itself.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the facility here, and obviously you're the lead distiller, and as a woman, it's cool to see a lot of females here just rocking it.
Oh yeah, we definitely have a lot of female power on staff. It's great.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, talk a little bit about your background with that too. How did you get into distilling?
It's actually, for me, it was really organic. I was getting a chemistry degree at SOU. And
for those out there, what's SOU?
Oh, sorry. That is Southern Oregon University, so right in beautiful Ashland. And as you do in college, when you're trying to figure out what you want to do with your life, I was drinking some whiskey. And whiskey can also lead to some great ideas. I don't know if you knew that. My great idea was to go learn how to make it in Scotland. I ended up earning a master's degree in brewing and distilling from Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh, and I came back and I haven't looked past. I love what I do, and I can ask for better.
That's cool. Right on. Well, awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about just the distilling process here and what the steps are that are involved.
We are all grain to glass, which basically focuses on everything happens here on site. We use local agriculture, mostly corn, wheat, rye, and malted barley, and we are going to go through 4 main stages for distillation. The first being mashing, then fermentation, distillation, and finally aging. So mashing is basically taking flour and making sugar. Fermentation is taking that sugar you make and fermenting it using yeast. The fermentation process produces alcohol, which is great. We're going to get about 10% alcohol, which is a very strong beer. Breweries would serve you that. Instead, we're going to take it, we're going to concentrate it, and we're going to make what's called white whiskey.
So it's kind of one-upping the craft beer industry in a way.
Those are your words, but sure. We're going to take this white whiskey, and just like its name implies, it's white. To have this nice mature color that all beautiful whiskey has, you have to put it into barrel and let it sit for a few years. We let ours age for 4 years. Every once in a while we go and check, sing to the whiskey, make sure it's doing
Nice.
Okay.
That's good.
And 4 years later, it's ready for bottling. If anyone ever wants to learn more, like yourself, you can come take a tour whenever you like.
Those steps were pretty much exactly how I raised my children. So
Yes,
so
yes.
I sing to them every night. Anyway, that's the one step. That's the one similarity. Well, cool. Tell us what kind of spirits you guys offer here, or what kind you make.
We make a variety of things, mostly whiskey. About 11 months out of our whole year for production is focused on whiskey.
So that's kind of your signature spirit.
It is. But we like to dabble in other things as well, and we have some other great products. We have an absinthe, we have 2 gins, we have vodka, we have spiced rum, and basically anything that you can make alcohol from it, we've tried to make alcohol from it, and we do some really cool experimental things.
A lot of experimentation.
Yes.
Which definitely, thinking about your background and what you study, there's a natural evolution and transition into that, really.
Totally.
Awesome. Well, I got one more question before we kind of move on to the next portion here. I have to ask, as a distiller and someone who's around great spirits all day, after a rough day, hard day at work, what's your go-to nightcap?
Definitely, I'm a whiskey girl, so I tend to gravitate towards whiskey, usually rye, but if I'm going to go for a cocktail, I love an absinthe sour. That's my absolute favorite drink here, which is counterintuitive, but it's fabulous.
Cool. Awesome, right on. Well, Molly, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We're going to move on to the next portion, and before we do, now might be a great time to take some questions from the audience. And just a quick reminder, too, we are doing some giveaways. We're going to be giving away our new Rocks glass, which just came out this month. So if you have questions, throw them up on our wall or tag a friend, and you'll be entered. We'll be randomly drawing for 2 winners. We are live, so definitely shoot us your questions. Sorry to you guys on Instagram. We don't have a way to answer the questions on there right now, but shoot them through our Facebook page and happy to answer those. So Tristan has asked, with spring coming up, what's your go-to drink this time of year? Which is a great question. So either Shelly or Molly, you guys can answer that. Or maybe I could ask too, is there one that's trending here at the tasting room? Seasonality-wise.
I think the fun thing about having the access to the great spirits that we have is that looking and finding other ingredients is to accompany the fantastic quality experience that we have. And when we start getting into spring and summertime, that's when all of the fresh fruits and herbs and those ingredients, we can start just experimenting with fun cocktails.
Cool.
So really that's what we do is we want to be coming up with new and fresh things, but then sticking with the old classics too.
I could see a mojito.
Mojito.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thanks again, Molly, for joining us. Appreciate it. And that might be a good segue too into a question for Shelly here. Shelly, what's your go-to cocktail?
I have to have something in common. We're both whiskey girls. When I get done with work, I usually sit down and I like a really whiskey-forward cocktail. I'm a big fan of old-fashioned, Sazerac, anything that really just features some of the good whiskeys and really captures all of the good flavors that you get from a really well-crafted whiskey.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we've got some show and tell here, so we wanted to walk you guys through some of the things we have here before we hop into making a drink. Before we do that, let's take one more question. This is a question for Molly before you exit off here. Robin asks, what does white whiskey taste like? I'm assuming as opposed to like a darker whiskey. Is there a difference taste-wise?
Yes, absolutely. A finished whiskey tastes a lot like the barrel that it's put in, and the barrel makes it taste really sweet. It has all this vanilla, these caramel notes, and it's awesome. When you have a white whiskey, it actually just tastes like the grain that was used and the water that was used, as well as the yeast. So it tastes very much like whatever grain that was used to make that whiskey. For bourbon, it tastes kind of like kettle corn, very initial.
Are there any white whiskeys on the market? Do people sell it that way?
Yes. Yes. You often see a moonshine, which is a little bit white whiskey. Yeah.
Cool. Great question, Robin. I was really curious about that when I read that too. So cool. Right on. Well, let's see. So keep the questions coming. We definitely appreciate it. And let's talk a little bit about our show and tell here. We've got a few glasses here, and we were talking earlier about Hydro Flask and then some of the cocktails. And Hydro Flask, we're definitely very intentional with our product design and everything. Although it may look very simple, nice, clean design. Everything is designed for a purpose and for an intent. And our rocks glass is definitely no different. It's got a nice beveled bottom, kind of a nice pinky shelf there for kind of a refined drinking experience. And the lip itself, too, is modeled after a traditional old-fashioned glass to make for a true experience for a three-finger pour, if you will. So that's kind of our take on the old-fashioned glass, the rocks. And tell us a little bit about here. I'm going to throw out some classic kind of cocktails, and Shelly, walk us through the vessel and any backstory or history. So let's start with the martini glass.
Okay. So with any good martini, you want it to stay as cold as possible. And so the functionality behind the shape of the martini glass is, so you're holding it by the stem, you're not holding it by the cup of it, and that keeps your martini as cold as possible because you're not warming it up with your hand. Another maybe true, maybe not so true story of why it's shaped the way that it is during Prohibition, when your speakeasy got raided by the police, it was really easy to dump out and hide your drink.
That's a great story. That's awesome.
So that's I think it could be a two-part shape.
That's good. It's functional then.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So it definitely was intentional, whether they meant it or not. But
Sure.
So let's move on to the next one, the one in the middle.
So this is a copper mug. The most common drink that you're going to find in a copper mug is a Moscow Mule or any type of mule. Moscow is typically vodka. You can do a bourbon mule. You can do a rum mule, gin mule. You could basically mix anything with the ginger beer and lime juice that comes in it, and it comes out as a really nice cocktail.
And you were telling me the backstory on this too, and it sounded really interesting.
So, from what I read, I think there's no real hard and fast rule behind cocktail glasses, just because spirits have such a big history.
Yeah.
From what I read, the Moscow Mule mug was basically.
She promised me she was not making this up.
I can't make this up that well. So 3 people, one of them trying to sell vodka in the United States, one of them trying to sell this ginger beer, who ran a bar called the Cock and Bull, and then this woman.
Which is still a ginger beer today.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorites. And then this woman that had brought a supply of copper mugs from Russia, and they kind of all got together and collaborated, and the Moscow Mule has been around since then.
Yeah.
So that's just necessity.
Yeah.
They all needed to sell what they were making. So.
And what's the final one here you have?
This one is a little. This is your classic old-fashioned rocks bucket, as some bars would call it, but this one's just all function. It's got. This is what you want to build your drinks in, or muddle your drinks in. It's just a very good shape for mixing and making a cocktail right in the glass.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's a great segue. We're going to teach you guys actually how to make a fun drink. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome a new person here into the fold. This is Taylor Bocci with Hydro Flask. Taylor, go ahead and say hi to everybody and tell them what you do at Hydro Flask.
Hi, thank you. My name is Taylor Bocci, and I am the marketing project coordinator at Hydro Flask.
Awesome. Well, Taylor is going to be the guinea pig. She graciously volunteered to have Shelly teach her how to make a really cool drink that these guys feature. Before we do that, maybe we'll take one more question from the live audience. It looks like Cherie asks, and this, maybe I'll gear this toward you, Shelley. She's visiting Bend in March. Is it possible to stop in for a tour?
Absolutely. We welcome people to come in and see everything it is that we do here.
Yeah.
We want to show off our lounge. We want to show off our distillery. We want to show off our product. So we do tours 5 o'clock every day. We also do 2 o'clock tours on Saturday and Sunday. And honestly, if you came in and you just asked for a tour, I bet you could find someone to show you around.
Right on. Cool. Well, walk us through what we're going to be making today.
Okay, so I thought a really fun cocktail that we could make was one of my favorites, which is the Smash. And the great thing about the whiskey Smash is you can make it with just about anything. It just needs to be have a little bit of sweetness in there, a little bit of tartness, usually some kind of herb like mint, and then a little bit of bitters just to balance all those flavors out.
Perfect.
So we're going to do a little bit of muddling and a little bit of shaking, and it's going to be a pretty cocktail in the end.
Perfect.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
We're going to put Taylor to the test here too. At the end, we're going to let Shelley taste Taylor's and see how she did.
Yes, we'll see.
All right, pressure's on. All right, so grab your glass here.
Perfect.
And we want to put a little bit of fresh ginger.
Okay.
Just throw that right in your glass. Probably 5 or 6 of these really nice looking blackberries.
6, perfect.
All right. And then we want to grab a little bit of this fresh thyme.
Okay.
We can leave the stems on there because we're just going to be muddling it up.
Okay, perfect.
And we'll be straining it out later, so
Perfect.
we don't need to worry about getting the stems.
And like you said earlier,
Okay.
a lot of these ingredients too are stuff that's just native to Oregon. Stuff you can
Yeah,
grow
I mean,
and pick, really, right?
Oregon has a ton of great berries,
Yeah.
and there's so many good local farms in Bend too that using all of those ingredients, and it
Yeah.
kind of fits right in with what we try to do in the distillery. It's
Yeah.
using locally sourced products, so
Awesome.
and it's delicious at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah, for sure.
Did I do enough?
Yes, I
Okay,
think you're good.
perfect.
All right, grab your muddler.
Oh, okay.
That one right there, and you just want to smash everything up and make sure it's well incorporated.
Need a bicep workout.
Exactly.
I like how they do all the work and I'm just here for color commentary. Because my drink would turn out terrible, most likely. So what does the muddling do?
It just incorporates all of those flavors that we put in there, make sure it gets all of the juices out of the berries and the ginger, and just making sure all the flavors come out of that fresh thyme and everything just gets all right.
Perfect.
Down there. All right, let's do a scoop of ice.
Okay. Perfect, thank you.
Just a good reminder too, we will answer a few more questions, so if you guys do
Definitely.
have them, definitely throw them
Okay.
up on our wall, tag a friend
Alright.
to watch the episode. You'll be entered to
What do you
win
want to do?
some of the rocks classes, which we're going to give away a couple at the end of the show.
Then 2 shakes of the bitters.
Oh,
It's okay.
might have gone a little heavy on the bitters.
Your face was classic.
All right, so bitters in there, and then of course the most important part, the bourbon.
Perfect.
And we're gonna do 1.5 ounces, which we're gonna measure this out.
All right.
All right, let's do 1.5 ounces of our Oregon Spirit Distillers bourbon. This is just a little sneak peek of this product. Not available yet, but we're pretty excited about it coming out.
Nice.
All right, and just dump that right in there.
How far are you guys distributing here at Oregon Spirit Distillers?
We distribute quite a bit. We've got places, we've got Michigan, we do a lot in the Pacific Northwest. Washington is a big area that we distribute to. And then we want to do 1/2 ounce of the simple syrup.
Okay. All the way to the top?
Do about to that little line in there.
The first one?
one,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
The blackberries are always already nice and sweet, so we don't need to add too much
Perfect.
additional sweetness. All right, and we want to grab our shaker tin.
Okay. Is there a
Right
trick to
there.
putting this on, or is it safe?
I think it's safe. You'll know if it's not.
Okay. Oh, geez.
It's okay. Yes, that's it. All right.
Okay.
That's good. And then pull that right off of there.
You can definitely tell Taylor is a novice.
You might want to help me.
No,
with
you can
that.
do it.
Really?
Yeah. Try it.
Okay, there we
Got
go.
it. All right. Now we're going to fill up our rocks
Perfect.
with crushed ice. We want to get a really good amount in there.
Okay, perfect.
Taylor, thank you so much for being a great sport, by the way.
Absolutely. This is exciting. All right. Now grab your strainer.
Okay.
Throw it in your glass. And pour right over.
You've got the proper hold. I'm over here really.
It takes practice, but really all that matters is the drink gets right in the glass.
All right. I might try this single finger. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now, last but not least, a little bit of garnish.
Okay.
I'll put a big sprig of this rosemary.
All right.
Is the garnish just kind of for show and just accentuates it?
Yeah, exactly. The pretty drink is always a good tasting drink, and plus
Definitely.
it's a little bit of extra snack on there.
Yeah, there you go. It's fun.
All right.
Perfect. That's it.
That's it.
Perfect.
See, that was easy.
That's beautiful.
All right.
Awesome. Let's see how she did.
Should we try
Should we
it?
try it? You want to try mine?
Let's try it.
Okay. That's good.
Really good.
Yum.
Nice work.
All right.
Well, awesome job, Taylor.
Thank you.
Thanks for being such a
Thank
great
you.
sport. And thanks, Shelly, for walking us through how to do that.
Yeah, of course.
If you guys are of age, that's a great recipe for you guys to try at home as well, courtesy of Oregon Spirit Distillers. So thank you guys for doing that. We're pretty much out of time. We'll take one more question before we do go. Thank you guys for all the questions and the comments that you've thrown at us. One more from Edward. Do you guys have mixing ideas online? That's a great question.
We do. We have our website, OregonSpiritDistillers.com, and also BarrelBend.com. But our favorite thing is to come in and talk to our bartenders and get mixing ideas from
Yeah.
us. And we'd be happy to make a cocktail according to your drink preference, or try one of our specialty and classic cocktails that you know are going to come out good because
Yeah.
we start with the best in the beginning.
Cool. Well, that personal connection is always the best connection. And on that note, thanks so much for joining us. Thank you to all you guys. Before we go, we have a couple of winners as well to win a couple of the Rocks glasses. Adrian Parrish and Monica Gursky. Congratulations, you guys are winners. DM us your information and let us know what color of rocks you would like and where to send it to, and we'll get it on its way. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.